Hello everyone, welcome back to Chibi and Chill, the anime podcast. I'm your host Ryan, and in this podcast it's all about anime and manga, talking about your favourite series, favourite manga, favourite movies, in-depth looks at characters, the history of anime and manga industries, and everything in between. In last week's episode, it was the start of a new mini-series for the podcast. So when the podcast began, I kicked it off with the history of anime mini-series of around 3 episodes, and the new miniseries will be a partner series to that one, and it will be the history of manga. So part 1 is out now, and that episode is available everywhere. So where you found this one, you'll find that one as well. So be sure to check it out. Why not deepen your knowledge of manga? And we all know that so much anime is inspired by manga. So it's kind of interesting to see where the source material came from that helps feed all of our anime addictions. And one last thing before we dive into today's episode, if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, check out the Apple Podcast exclusive weekly anime and manga news podcast series that I do as well. It's called Chibi Piece Exclusive, and new episodes release every Sunday, and I discuss the top 5 news stories for anime and manga for the past week, for the past 7 days, and some mini headlines, mini highlights that didn't quite fit the roster for the top 5, and also a weekly anime recommendation for you to check out as well. So be sure to check it out. There's a 7-day free trial of the series, so be sure to check that out over on Apple Podcasts. So this week's episode is all about magical and wizardy, witchy kind of anime series. So any kind of anime that kind of fits that kind of mystical, magical vibe. So series that are all about wizards, wands, mages, and all the kind of magical creatures and classifications that fit into that kind of vibe. So this episode will take a look at some of the best magical anime that's out there currently, both new and iconic series, and anime recommendations that you should be trying out if you're into this kind of vibe, or maybe you're looking to kind of widen your anime scope, kind of widen, maybe you're in an anime rut, right? It's easy to get stuck into the same genre and you want to try something new. I'll give you top 5 magical anime that you should be checking out, and this list won't be mentioning anime that falls into the magical girl genre as such, so series such as Sailor Moon or Cardcaptor Sakura, for example, although they're amazing, and if you listen to past episodes of this show, you'll know that I absolutely love those series, and I grew up with those, and absolute top tier for me. But I think I'll do a separate episode like this, but for magical girl anime, because there's quite a big roster of magical girl anime. It's quite easy to just include them in everything, but we'll do a separate episode on magical girl anime later on. And it's no secret that magical stories or fantastical kind of stories have become fan favourites within pop culture, and the Harry Potter franchise is one of the best examples of that kind of success, and the largest franchise ever, and has been the inspiration for many other series within anime and the wider pop culture media industries as a whole. So one of the newest magical themed anime that seems to take quite a lot of inspiration and nods to Harry Potter quite a bit, quite in obvious places as well, was one of the most hyped series for spring 2023, and that was called Mashle. So let's dive into our first anime recommendation, which is Mashle. So Mashle, Magic and Muscle started airing this spring, and I saw so much hype for this show. This is one of the most hyped anime that I've seen for quite a while, and it was all over TikTok and Instagram, and of course with that also came the kind of resemblance between Harry Potter and how similar the two actually are. And the story follows Mash, who is a traditional kind of trope for magical anime, possesses no magical ability in a world where basically magic controls everything and even society itself. And I can't hear you, but I can already hear the Black Clover references, but trust me, it is worth a try. I at first thought this was a Black Clover dupe as well, but give it a try. So the actual plot of this anime, as taken from Crunchyroll, it says, "This is a world of magic, and this is a world in which magic is casually used by everyone. In a deep, dark forest in this world of magic, there is a boy who is single-mindedly working out. His name is Mash Burndead, and he has a secret: he can't use magic. All he wanted to live is a quiet life with his family, but people suddenly start trying to kill him one day, and he somehow finds himself enrolled in magic school. There he sets his sights on becoming a divine visionary, the elite of the elite. Will his ripped muscles work against the best and brightest of the wizarding world? And the curtain rises on this off-kilter magical fantasy in which the power of being jacked crushes any spell. So at first, this anime didn't really grab me, I have to be honest. I wasn't really into that first episode, and it didn't really entice me to watch more of it. However, if I'm honest, I'll always give an anime series the traditional 3-episode trial, and only decide from that point if I'm going to continue with it. And at the moment of this recording, there are 6 episodes, and I'm on episode 4 currently, and I am glad I did stick with it. I wouldn't say that it's one of the most outstanding anime just yet. It's not blown me away, but it's fun to watch. It's a nice one to casually keep up with and watch in between other series. So it's a nice kind of, not slow tempo, but it's nice and soft to watch. Whereas I think series such as Demon Slayer or Hell's Paradise, you kind of have to pay attention to them, and there's a lot going on, whereas in Mashal, it's a lot more casual, I feel. So the character Mash does have a wild but calm energy, which is fun, and has a black and white view of the world, and it does cause him to act before thinking, which is really fun to watch in the anime. And there are moments where the methods he uses to make things magical happen, in quote marks, magical things happen, such as make a broom fly, is funny and entertaining because of how he's done it. It's definitely a fun anime to watch. If the first episode doesn't grab you like it didn't me, definitely stick with it and give this one a try. It's only a few episodes in, so you've got plenty of time to catch up on it. The second anime that I'm going to recommend for if you're looking for a magical anime is The Ancient Mage's Bride. And this anime it's just a must watch for any magical anime fan. It's filled with interesting characters, creatures, the magic but darker story tones as well, and also an animation style that is so beautiful. And people often mention that this anime reminded them of the work of Studio Ghibli. So that kind of gives you the kind of vibe that the show kind of gives off. And I'll tell you the plot of Crunchyroll. So it says, Hattori Chise has lived a life full of neglect and abuse, devoid of anything resembling love. Far from the warmth of family, she has had her share of troubles and pitfalls. Just when all hope seems lost, a fateful encounter awaits her. When a man with the head of a beast, wielding strange powers, obtains her through a slave auction, Chise's life will never be the same again. The man is a magus, a Sora. Side note, I've seen people pronounce this as mage and magus, so say as you will. I've heard both and now I'm very unsure, but I'm going to go with magus, or mage, who decides to free Chise from the bonds of captivity, and the mage then makes a bold statement: Chise will become his apprentice and his bride. So it's a very interesting story. This grabbed me from about episode 2, and this is an anime that has so much content to offer and loads to dive into. So not only is there a season 1 of the show, but there's also multiple OVAs and a season 2 that's currently airing as part of Spring 2023 lineup. And the first series is about 24 episodes long, so it's quite a bit longer than the first series that we're traditionally used to seeing now, about 8 to 11 episodes. And the OVAs really help to deepen the world of this anime and its characters, and really kind of show more of the darker story tones that underline the story. I feel like this is one of the most underrated anime, especially on this list, but in general, and you should definitely be checking this one out, along with the OVAs and this kind of side stories that help just give you more insight into the world this anime is building and the characters that inhabit the world. So anime number 3 is actually a movie, however I didn't watch it as a movie, and I'll explain a little bit later, but it's called Burn the Witch, and it's just lovely to look at visually. Again, this one gave me Studio Ghibli vibes as well, and the character designs are great, and the artwork for the surrounds of the area are gorgeous. It's set in London, which I always like an anime that's set in London. It's one of my favourite cities, and very cool when they kind of base an anime in there. But the plot of this is that historically, 72% of all deaths in London are related to dragons, fantastical beings invisible to the majority of people. While unknown to most, some people have been standing up to these dragons. Only inhabitants of reverse London who live in the hidden reverse, quotes, side of London can see the dragons. The protagonists of the story are witch duo Noel Nahashi and Ninis Bagcole, and they are protection agents for the Wingbind. Their mission is to protect and manage the dragons within London, or reverse London should I say, on behalf of the people. So there are some little details in how the characters and the world around the characters has been illustrated, and it's small details that really help bring quality to anime, and it shows the care for the craft. And this one has like the illustrations on how they're done and the surrounding artwork for the characters is they all have kind of like a rough edge finish. It's not rough looking, but there's a texture to everything in the world, and it looks glorious. It's so nice to watch. And I said it's a movie, but I didn't watch it as a movie. And over on Crunchyroll, there are 3 episodes, and I thought that maybe the 4th episode must be on the way. Maybe I've caught it a little bit early. However, after taking a look into the anime, its 3 episodes are actually a singular movie that was made into episode formats for Crunchyroll. So we've seen that done before a few times. However, watching it as episodes, I did struggle to see how this was a movie to begin with. At first, being episodes, I do hope they continue to develop the storyline and the characters more. I really wanted to learn more about the characters and the world, and I think they would have benefited from it being a full anime series. However, it is a nice movie to watch. You can't dive too far into it because you start off almost in the middle with not really knowing much of the characters and learning as you go. But it's a really nice story, and I really hope that if this movie, or series should I say, was popular, I really hope that they develop this into a full-blown series. It's still a really nice way to watch about an hour, but it's 3 episodes long, so it's exactly an hour. So definitely check it out if you have an hour to pass and want to watch something slightly casual that you don't need to know anything about to begin with, or to even finish the series or the film either. Definitely check it out if you've got an hour spare. So from a very short series anime to one of the longer ones on this list, and one of the most iconic ones is anime number 4 is Black Clover. So one of the most popular anime series, and one that's has kind of grown to be loved and both hated within the anime industry, I guess. So I began this anime as a series that I could kind of have on in the background, and one that I didn't really think I'd dive into that far. However, I very, very soon got hooked into this anime, and I didn't really anticipate to really grow to love the anime, and now I'm hooked. I really, really like it. It's very, very cool. So the plot is, in a world where magic is everything, you'll see some similarities here. Asta and Yuno are both found abandoned at a church on the same day. While Yuno is gifted with exceptional magical powers, Asta is the only one in the world without any. Again, this is why people referred to Mashal as a similar dupe. So at the age of 15, both received Grimoires, magical books that amplified their holder's magic. Asta's is a rare grimoire of anti-magic that negates and repels his opponent's spells. Being opposite but good rivals, Yuno and Asta are ready for the hardest of challenges to achieve their common dream, to be the Wizard King. Giving up is never an option. So if you've watched any Black Clover yet, if you haven't watched it, should I say, there are 170 episodes to check out on Crunchyroll, so plenty to get stuck into. It's not as long as One Piece, but it's quite a long series to get into. It's a deeper world than what I thought it would give, and the last series was really, really great. They clearly I don't know if they put a little bit more resource into the last season, but there's definitely more money being put into Black Clover now than when it first started. And there is a film coming out soon on Netflix. I believe it's even July or October. It's something around that time. They moved the date a couple of times, and now off the top of my head, I cannot remember when it's coming out, but it's on the radar. So if you're kind of looking to get into Black Clover or wanting to start the series, I'd start it now, so then you know and are fully up to speed by the time the movie comes out. It's a great world. There is a little bit of hate for it, saying that it's a dupe of Naruto, but at this point, every anime is inspired by another anime, so nothing's really that original as of yet. So definitely dive into this world if you're looking to dive into one of the more iconic pieces of anime for the magical themes. So the last anime on this list, and anime number 5, is Konosuba. So This anime recommendation is kind of in two parts. So the most recent addition to the series, Konosuba, An Explosion on This Wonderful World, started as part of the Spring 2023 lineup on Crunchyroll. So I didn't know about the first series when I started the new one because of them having different names and didn't really think they were connected. And they aren't technically season 1 and season 2. However, when I realised that the season Konosuba, God's Blessing on This Wonderful World came out first, I decided to kind of pause where I was in season 2, that's not a season 2, and watch the first one, that's not season 1. So the animation quality is great. I have to say it's super, super crisp. It's exactly what you kind of expect from the new generation of anime. And the storyline is filled with jokes, and it kind of makes fun of itself with the isekai tropes of going to a different world with an ability or a godlike character, and the gaming kind of staples that we see, such as classifications, points, and leveling up. And it kind of takes the mick out of itself. It makes fun of itself. And the anime does fit into isekai genre as well. I really did try to not mention isekai anime in this because that's kind of obvious to put an isekai in this theme. However, this is the only one that isn't isekai on this list, so I feel like I've done pretty well here. But watching the first episode of Konosuba, God's Blessing on This Wonderful World, I realised that they really went to town on the fan service, showing the movement of the animations of the boobs and showing skin on the female characters. That's a disclaimer for the series. It's not dirty or anything like that. It's definitely not to that level, but they definitely loved animating it and showing it, like the thigh skin and stuff. You get it. You know what I'm saying. It's there. It's very prominent, and you know, it's a side. They love doing the fan service on this one. But the first season is only 11 episodes long, so it won't take too long to finish, and I've not finished it yet. Bearing in mind, I started the second season first by accident because I didn't think they were connected. But there are some returning characters in the Explosion on This Wonderful World season, so I think it's definitely worth watching the first season again, or to begin with, before you start the newest one that came out as part of the Spring 2023 lineup, just in case there are Easter eggs or nods to the first one that you might miss if you don't watch the first. But definitely check out Konosuba and both the series, I guess, if you're into kind of maybe storylines that don't truly connect, but they do in different ways, and the more kind of isekai version of the isekai vibe for magical anime. I love an isekai, so this was straight on my list when I found out that it's an isekai. I love anime that takes the jokes out of itself and references the tropes and traditions of itself in its own genre, so definitely check it out if you're into that kind of stuff as well. So those were some magical genre or magical themed anime that you should be checking out this season, or at least some point soon. Which of these anime do you think you'll be watching? Maybe all of them, or maybe you've watched some of them, and which one is your favourite? I think mine has to be Black Clover or the Ancient Mage's Bride. Those are really, really great, but Mashle is coming up close. I don't know if it'll be one of my favourites, but I'll be glad that I've kind of watched it. So be sure to check out those if you are kind of wanting a second opinion. But be sure to find me on social media and let me know what you thought of these recommendations, or maybe you have some other recommendations of anime that I've not checked out that fit the magical vibe. Let me know. Find me on social media, find me on TikTok, Instagram, all that good stuff, and let me know which magical anime you love as well. If you've enjoyed the show, please do leave a rating and a review for the episode. It really does take 5 seconds, it's free, and it really does support the show. You hear it all the time, but it really, really does help how the show gets out and reaches new people. If you're a mega fan of anime, then why not check out my brand new Patreon monthly subscription club. There are 3 tiers of membership: Chibi Fan, Chibi Super Fan, and Chibi Mega Fan, with each tier being better than the last. Each month, for one cost, you'll receive free prints, free downloads, and much more, including exclusive behind the scenes videos, photos, and more of how I create my prints and anime themed artwork. If you'd like to receive exclusive updates and anime themed goodies every single month delivered straight to you, then why not check out my Patreon? The link's down below. I'm sure you'll love being a part of the Chibi Weeb fan club. Sometimes finding a birthday card or an occasion card can be a boring task. However, I have some anime themed cards on my thoughtful.co.uk creator profile, which is found in my links on social media. Over on Thoughtful, you'll find a bunch of anime themed cards such as Studio Ghibli happy birthday cards and more, with my range being updated regularly. Each card is processed by thoughtful.co.uk, with shipping being fast, quick and efficient. You can shop my anime themed cards over on my Instagram, with my links being over on there. Search Chibi Weeb Anime and you'll find me. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for checking out the podcast. It really does mean a lot. Please do leave a rating and a review down below. It really does support the show and it's free to do. I'll see you next time. I'll see you next Friday. Have a great weekend. If you're a subscriber or if you're thinking of subscribing or starting the free trial on Apple Podcasts, I'll see you on Sunday for the next episode of the Chibi Piece exclusive Apple Podcast exclusive episode on Sunday. Thanks guys. Bye bye.